Hey guys, hope 5.1 went good. And if it didn't, hopefully you have contacted me and made some kind of way to ask me questions so that I can help you. Today I am going to look at 5.2. So in chapter 5, it actually goes up to 5.4, but I am not going to do 5.4. I'm going to do 5.2 and 5.3, and then I will be done with the chapter. So you can expect a hand in after 5.3. Okay, so 5.2 is short. It's actually very simple, and then yeah, you can do 5. We'll do 5.3 next. Okay. So 5.2 looks at transformations of sinusoidal functions. So in the previous section, we had looked at our A's and B's, right? So just as a refresher, we had y, I guess I should write y equals a sine x, right? Or cos x. And then we also had y equals sine bx. And then we also had cos bx. So we had our A's and B's. A's affected the amplitude, right? You just had to take the absolute value of A. And then your B's affected the period. So that was either going 2 pi over B or 360 divided by B, whatever you had to do. Okay? So what we are looking at now is C's and D's, but I don't like calling them C's and D's. I like to call them H's and K's because that's what we have been talking about in all of Pre-Calc 30. So this is honestly nothing different than what you would have learned in Chapter 1. I don't know if you remember me saying you have to understand Chapter 1 or else you're going to struggle for the rest of Pre-Calc because it always seems to build off that or go back to it. So we have, again, H's and K's. So remember, H deals with horizontal translations, okay? And then K's deal with our vertical translations. They also call vertical shifts displacements, and they also call horizontal shifts phase shifts, just as some extra vocab for you, okay? So if you see those words, that's what they mean. So all we have to do is use Desmos, graph these things, and then look at domain and range. Okay, so nothing too tricky. I do like to make sure you guys remember how to find H and K first before we even graph. So if you remember with H, we always flip the sign. So right now it's negative 30, so you flip it, which means it's positive 30, and that's in degrees. Right, you see that degree sign up there. And then K, we keep the sign on that side, so K is 3. Meaning we're going to shift our sine graph 30 degrees. Which way? Right, because H is positive. Okay, so if we're going to go 30 degrees right, and then how many units are we going up or down? K is positive, which means we're going 3 up. Okay, so I actually took this, put it in Desmos already, and graphed it for you. So it's right here. Okay, now let's look at domain and let's look at range. Okay, so looking at this, I think I put it in correctly. Domain is always XER. Okay, so we'll write that. Domain x such that x is an element of all real numbers. And then the range. For range, y such that, now you got to look what y is between. Okay, so the highest value here is 4, lowest value is 2. Okay, so you are going to have a graph between 2 and 4. So you'll go 2 less than or equal to y, less than or equal to 4, y-e-r. Okay, and that is honestly all you have to do. Okay, so hopefully you're able to read Desmos properly, and then that shouldn't be too bad for you. This next one is looking at cos. It has an A value, it has an H value, and it has a K value. Okay, I know these are C's and D's, but don't worry. H and K's are good. So looking at that, what is A? A is -2, which means what's your amplitude going to be? You're going to have to look at the absolute value of -2, so that's your amplitude of 2. We have a value of pi for h. Is it positive pi or negative pi? Negative pi, you switch your sign. All right, and k, keep the sign, so -1. So you are going negative pi, or pi to the left and 1 down. Okay, just so that you know what's going on. So I'm going to, I did take this and put it in Desmos, but I got to change I need to be in radians. Okay, and why I need to be in radians is because if you look here, it's dealing with pi, right? Pi is radians, so I can't have my graph in degrees. Okay, that's a no-no. So go into your wrench here, change it to radians, and then you gotta, usually I change this to pi over 2 or pi over 4 or something. And then if that's not working, make this smaller. There. All right. So that is that. It just says to sketch it over 2 cycles, okay, which means basically 2 periods. So if I were to graph 2 periods of this, that's 2 rotations, okay? So it's starting here, going down, coming back up to the start. That would be 1. Going down and coming back up to the start. That would be 2, right? So my period here is 4 pi. Or no, sorry. The time it takes for 2 cycles is 4 pi. My period is just 2 pi, right? That's how long it takes to repeat. Okay. Was there anything else I had to look at? I don't think so. Good. It's that easy. I like this section. As long as you can work Desmos, you'll be fine. Okay. And then this last one just says sketch this over 2 cycles, list the vertical displacement, amplitude, period, phase shift, domain, and range. Okay. So phase shift is the same thing as, what was that? Horizontal. So that's your H value. Okay. And then vertical displacement is your K value. Just as a aside, amplitude is A, period, B. And then you can list your domain and range. So we should be able to find A and B right away, or amplitude and period. So amplitude, what the heck? Oh yes, this question. Okay, so let's look at the actual equation itself. So it says y equals 3 sine bracket 2x minus 2 pi over 3 plus 2. So my A value I can find right away. A equals 3. Absolute value of 3 is 3, so that's my amplitude. Okay, period deals with B. Now, B should be right here in front. Okay, but there's nothing there. But they try and trick you. Do you see how there's a number in front of this X? That means you have to take it out in front. Okay, there should never be a number in front of your X. So you're dividing this by 2, and you're actually dividing this by 2 as well. Okay, so that means that your B value is going to be 2, right? Because if you take 2 out of there, the 2 is in front. Okay, so if you do that, you would have this, y equals 3 sine 2, and then you're left with x minus pi over 3 plus 2. Okay, does that make sense? I just took that factor of 2 out so that I could see what B was. Okay, they do try and trick you. Actually, on the departmentals all the time, they do that. Okay. All right. So now I can say B equals 2. Therefore, your period is, we're dealing with radians, so 2 pi over b, which is just pi. All right, so I got my amplitude done, I got my period done. Now we need to list the vertical displacement and the phase shift. So do I know what K is? K is positive 2, which means it goes up 2 units. Good. And then, so I'm done that one. Phase shift. Phase shift is your H value. So here H equals, switch your sign. So it's positive pi over 3 to the right. Okay, that looks pretty good. And then last but not least, we need to find domain and range. Okay, so in order to find that, I just put it in Desmos for us so that we could see. Here it is. I guess I should erase. Okay, so looking at this, we have our domain, which is XER. Okay, so you can write XER for domain here. And then your range, just always look at your highest and lowest values, okay? So my highest value is 5, right? You guys see that there? Highest is 5. Lowest, what was that? 1, -1, sorry. So that means your graph is always between 5 and -1. So we can go back here, -1, y less than or equal to 5, YER. And then I'm done that, and that. Okay? And that's honestly it. So in this section, really all I want you to take away from it is how you find your H, how you find your K, and just know that you can transform those sine and cosine graphs, okay? I'm not going to get you to do anything like these 2 examples. I'm just going to go straight to a textbook assignment, okay? Hopefully that goes okay. So let's do number, I guess I should give you page number. Let's do page 250/251 to number 124 ACE. Okay, so there's a few questions for you to do there. This again is a short week. Okay, so like these videos aren't even getting posted until Monday night, just because it's the long weekend. You guys had the Friday off, and you also get the Monday off. I think it is like the 18th of May. You're supposed to have no school, which is why these videos didn't get posted till Monday night. Okay, so yeah, 4-day week, I guess. So we will wrap up chapter 5 in the rest of this week. Okay, let me know if you guys have any questions. Okay.